All right, this week, I guess today, got a care package. Roll the intro. So this week I got another question for us to talk about, but first, one of my past mentors, Melissa Nossick, works at the BCBA. These aren't official, there's nothing affiliated with this, but I just thought it'd be fun to actually be like, hey look, care package from old mentor that works at the Behavior Analyst Certification Board. She works right next to Jim Carr, so yeah. Swank pens, a few of them. I spilled a bunch of coffee on these, but they got pop sockets. I don't use them. Comment, and I have 1, 2, 3 of them. I will mail them out. Just send me where to mail them to. I don't use them. Chapstick? Want some chapstick? Official BACB chapstick. And looks like sort of force field around it. Coaster. Use that on the desk. Thanks, Mel. And a sweet new mug. Alright, so now that that's over, what I wanted to talk about today involves social media. So I spend about 3 to 8 hours a day, depending on the day, consuming some sort of social media, whether watching it, creating it, things like this. I know that is a ton, but that's just kind of where life is. I have a good time, so don't judge. And I am a fan of like healthy individual uses, so if it's not for you, cool. But for me, it brings a lot of joy, and I work with a lot of people remotely, and I get to connect with a lot of people. So it's awesome, and I like it. But with that said, I talk with a lot of others and network, and we get onto these points of like, obviously, ways to use it and ways probably not to use it. And those lines aren't very clear. There's different ways that we talk about these sort of things. Some recent journal articles have been published on them, as well as continued symposia panels and such at our professional development events. I'm involved on some of those at San Diego's conference this year for the Association of Behavior Analysis International with some pretty cool people. Behavior Babe, Behavior Man, Behavior Guy. There's a lot of them. But others too. Discontinued Behavior is going to be on there. And I'll kind of link that. And one common thing that's talked about a lot and seen by everybody in there is just repeated questions being asked. And I want to get to that after this. The point to start was like, what resources are out there and where could you ask these questions prior to putting some of that content in there? And so that's where we'll start. So some of these groups are open. It depends on the policies, the nature of the question and such to kind of ask there, but places to kind of go first, or at least in addition to. So I've always found it useful to have a mentor or a supervisor when it comes to it. Now our ethical guidelines state that you need to have these sort of things around you depending on like your experience level and such, but regardless, like I always have a group of people around me that I'm always asking questions and kind of sharing my perspective and saying, hey, like I'm thinking about doing this, or I need some experience in this. What do you think? Where can I find somebody? And so that's kind of rule number 1. Always find mentors and supervisors. Now, in addition to your internal team, depending on the type of questions, the BACB or the ABA hotline for ethical questions is always places to go. But they also specified really clearly the rules in there, and like we need to check those out and understand those individually, and that's something that your supervisors can help you out with, but it's also something that like we can go out there and find on our own. And I'll link some of those resources in this description. And so I think that's one way to kind of look at these sort of things, but another is that there's a different issue I think at play, and that is these tools of social media and such to draw us in are designed so that they're designed so that we spend time on them. They're not necessarily designed to solve problems, and we kind of approach them as a group that way sometimes. How do we solve that problem? I've got some ideas, some projects I'm gonna end up sharing on this channel where we're trying to solve little bits and pieces of this and answering some functionally similar questions. But there's not going to be one tool, right? So I guess the point of this video is, what are your thoughts on this? Where do you see the solutions actually being developed? Are you developing those solutions? Are you a mentor that like is looking actively for people to kind of mentor in certain areas? Are you looking for mentorship and supervision in a certain area? Like this could be a place to actually connect and communicate with others. There's a lot of valuable, useful people that follow this and comment on here. So hopefully we can connect folks like you with the people that you're looking for. I'd also be interested in how you perceive social media being used when it comes to these sort of questions. So it's very clearly a problem. There's not an easy solution. Let's start brainstorming. With that said, if you're into this, do me a favor, like, share. Let's get the comments going more all over the place. Subscribe if you're into that sort of thing. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed your daily dose of BA. Sort of force field around it.